Good afternoon, synthesists. Today we are looking at a legend, the Octave-Plateau Voyetra 8 polyphonic synthesizer from 1982. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Octave-Cat monophonic synthesizer that was released in the 70s. And Octave Electronics realized as the monophonic market started to dwindle that they needed to release something new and something polyphonic. And during the same time, they merged with Plateau Electronics and ultimately released the Octave-Plateau Voyetra 8. So there are a few things that make the Voyetra 8 really special. I think the main one, in my opinion, is that it uses a combination of chips from different manufacturers. So during this time, it was very common for synthesizers to use oscillators and filters and envelope chips from manufacturers like CEM or Curtis Electro Music. But it was rare for a synthesizer manufacturer to use different brands in the same synthesizer. So, for example, Curtis oscillators with an SSM filter like you see in the Voyetra 8. It adds just that bit more sparkle and depth to the sound. Another interesting fact about the Voyetra 8 is that it was the first synthesizer designed in rack mount format. Before this time, you just didn't see that. Every synthesizer was built into a chassis with a key bed. Okay, so let's talk feature set, because that is one of the big reasons why this synthesizer is as special as it is. We've already mentioned the combination of Curtis oscillators and SSM filters, but this is an 8-voice synthesizer, and each voice features 2 oscillators plus a sub-oscillator, as well as 2 LFOs, 2 envelopes, and a deep modulation section. So let's talk about this front panel layout. And it might look at first like there are minimal controls on this synthesizer, but it's laid out in a very intelligent manner. And aside from this front panel layout with everything labeled as you see here, there are multiple pages behind these, essentially, where each button and knob serves a different function. So there is a page for the filter, there's a page that features the envelopes, there's multiple pages that feature each modulation section. And if you look here, you'll see 2 rows of knobs, and these are basically performance control sections where you have easy to access, commonly used features that are actually split between the left and right sounds if you are using this in split or layer mode. So you'll notice here in the Voyetra 8 world, there is a section labeled for the left sound, the right sound, and then another section labeled step. And step is basically a combination of settings and programs for left and right. So if I'm using a layered sound like we have here, you can see I'm using left sound number 9 and right sound number 34, which is saved as step or preset number 54 essentially. It's important to understand how the Voyetra 8 is laid out, and you can think of the front panel as it is with these knobs and buttons as page 1, but there's much deeper programmability functionality built into this synthesizer. There's well over a dozen pages actually that you reach by pushing the edit button. So now we happen to be on page 1, which is the VCO section. And as a result, each one of these buttons and knobs now has a new feature. And we can pan through the pages simply by pushing the forward button here. And now we're on modulation page A, and we can continue on through understanding how to program the synth that way. So the best way to show you how this synthesizer works is to start with a patch. And this patch is a split patch in which we have the same sound programmed on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, but we've tuned them and adjusted the filters just slightly. We also have the left sound set to unison mode. So all 4 voices that would normally be allocated to the left side are in unison, while the right sound is still in polyphonic mode. One thing I have to mention here is the poly evolver you see in the shot is only being used as a controller. None of the sounds are coming from the poly evolver. Everything you are hearing is coming from the Voyetra 8, and it is dry. We have no effects on this signal whatsoever. So this next patch is a layered patch, a string patch featuring sound number 53 on the left and sound number 58 on the right. And I'm going to show you how you can control the filter cutoff for each sound separately just from the front panel. Okay, so the next sound I wanted to show off is another layered patch, and this is a bell patch. And even though this is a 100% analog synth, it can make bell sounds on par with FM monsters like the DX7 or DX1. Okay, so we have to show you a Unison patch. This is Unison in layer mode with each sound set to the same on either side, but tweaked slightly differently. And I'm going to run through the filter sweeps on both sides. Okay, so the next patch is another layered patch, but this one is using an independent LFO on each different sound to create an interesting polymod style modulation effect. Okay, so this next patch is a patch in whole mode, and it's basically filter sweep with resonance. Okay, here we're looking at a split patch, and this is another resonant sweep. Okay, the next patch I want to show you is just a basic horn patch. and I just want to show you how to add a quick, easy modulation via LFO. So we're going to come in and press edit and move to our first modulation page, and we're going to select the LFO1 as our source. And now we hope you've enjoyed this intro to the Voyetra 8 today. Keep an eye out for more content featuring this synthesizer and others in the future.